Hey everybody, welcome to the initial Loser Balls Loser Talking Loser Ball. I'm Jonathan Gruber, the founding loser inventor of Loser Ball. Ben Bloom, our marketing guru. How you doing, Ben?
Not bad. How are you?
You're
Or I
not
guess I should
bad.
say
Come on, let's be more
I'm
positive
doing.
about it.
Well, then if I'm doing horribly, that means I'm doing very well in loser ball technology, that terminology, right? No,
Exactly.
I'm doing great.
You've already got me on my toes.
It's already we have football weekend coming up, so we're in football season in full steam, so it's great.
Yeah, we're it's been great so far. As people may or may not know, this is the initial season of Loser Ball. It's a free to play game. You can see over Ben's head. You can scan, hopefully it'll work on a computer, that you can sign up and you can play. There's season longs, there's weeklies, you could start your own leagues. But what we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk a little strategy and see what's in store for this week. Ben, what's on your mind, Loser Ball World?
So it's kind of interesting for this week because there's a couple of teams that stand out, but it could go either way. You look at the New England Patriots for this week.
A solid
They were
pick,
doing
as always.
Well, they were doing so well, with the Jacoby Brissett, and we hate in loser ball to see a team, that's, moving along dysfunctionally. We don't want you to change it. And now in comes Drake May, who's a rookie, which could go both ways. He could actually perform well, which would stink for us. But if he does what most rookies do, then I'm actually really liking the Patriots because their handicap for this week isn't like at the very, very, very bottom. It's middle at 84. You're in the middle tier, kind of maybe a little low end of the middle tier. So you really could, playing against the Texans, who are banged up, which might not be a good thing, but they're playing against the Texans, and you would think that Drake May is going to make some mistakes, and if you can get, a pump block in there or something extra from special teams, I think the Patriots could, be another strong pick. But again, with a rookie with Drake May, if he shows out and does well, which we hate to see, then maybe it isn't. But I do like the Patriots as kind of a pick this week, based on their matchup and kind of where they're situated. What are your thoughts? Who do you like?
Well, first of all, I always love a rookie quarterback. I think there's so much potential for good things to happen on the field. Missed play calls, missed connections with receivers. So that same t similar, but I'm high on the Raiders. I think that there's some chemistry in the quarterback room that I'm pretty excited about. They've got an even lower handicap than than the Pats. I think what are they at? That I'm looking at, and they've
That
also, by the way, since the season started, the Raiders have the second highest cumulative total. They're minus 1459 after 5 weeks. The only team that's done better than them is the Dolphins, which is another strong team. And it's about quarterback play in loser ball and also special teams because that's where the big plays happen. So just to recap for people, we're talking about the handicap. If you don't know what that is, the handicap in loser ball is the historical numbers going back for these categories of futility on the football field. So whether it's incomplete passes on the offense to um, missed field goals to giving up a lot of yardage passing or rushing, we've taken the last 3 years and up to last week really. So three years and 5 weeks and we've weighted them. We've weighted these categories, and it all comes out. We put it in our special sauce, and it comes out to a handicap that the teams have to overcome, a positive handicap number that they have to overcome to go into the negative. And the worst team so far this season, and they have been for a little while, is the Niners. So it's not, even though their record is, 2-3, but they're pretty miserable in a bunch of different areas.
they're too. You can't mess with the nine. Their continuity is horrible for loser ball.
Yeah, and it's not just about points allowed. It's about all sorts of different categories. In a way, it's a more holistic way of looking at which teams are doing well and not doing so well in Loserball. Like for instance, the team with the highest handicap is the Vikings, and the Vikings are forgot. Let's see what their handicap, and they're off this week, so you're not going to take them. But just so you know, their handicap is 158, so they've got to do a fair amount to overcome that handicap. So that when they're playing, that's usually a hard one to go for. I think second highest is the Commanders. So again, they're 4-1, but it doesn't always mean that that's going to be you go by record because surprisingly, a team that has a really high uh, overall kind of negative score is the Ravens. Look at that t-shirt. Are you wearing the t-shirt because the Ravens are such a strong
Well,
loser ball team?
that's been to me that's a mistake potentially happening. Before I go on the whole Ravens, I'm a Ravens fan. I'm from Baltimore. Last week I think is definitely weighting that because they did let up a ton of yards to the Bengals. They also got safetied, and so you look at that. Is it fool's gold? Is it real? Are the Ravens actually going to be a team that's a loser ball gold, as we say? I don't think so. I think the defense gets better as the year goes along. But to show you how things can change in loser ball, you referenced the Vikings. Historically speaking, that was always one of the loser ball franchises we want to own. We want to be all in on the Vikings because they missed field goals in the past. They let up yards. That was the team. And now look at this year, how the times have changed, right? They're, as you said, the strongest handicap. So things can definitely change, but I would say the Ravens. I noticed that I was looking actually at last week's scoring, and I was like, "Wow, the Ravens really did a. They normally lay an egg, and this past week they showed up when it comes to loser ball world, and I just don't think that's going to become a weekly. And I'm trying not to speak with my emotions here, but I just don't think that'll become a weekly occurrence. I think that the defense will get better, and that's not what we want to see. We want to see defense get worse. To that end, I love the Raiders pick because, I mean, you look at the injuries, which we never like to see, but Devontae Adams, if you can call him injured, I mean, I think he's just holding out or holding in, as you call it. But they're missing guys left and right. I will worry though, the Minshew mania that we were loving for the Raiders is coming to an end. So can Aiden O'Connell continue? Can he pass the torch to Aiden O'Connell and continue this lovable loser way, or is he going to actually perform on the field and suddenly, it's not such so trendy of a pick? I do think playing Pittsburgh is always a good thing, even though they're my personal arch rivals. I think that that's probably a good matchup. So I like that pick. But in loser ball, I think sometimes if things are broke, if things are broke, we kind of don't want you to change them. The Jets being another pick that I like this week, it's either going to go really well or the clip or everyone's going to get fired, which again we don't want to see because we want instability to stay. But the Bills on Monday night, I believe it's Monday Night Football this week.
Mhm.
I mean, that could be a great pick, in terms of loser ball. You've got Aaron Rodgers looking like he's 70, doesn't want to get hit. You've got Brees Hall not getting the ball, and if he does get the ball, it's obvious that they're running and that he's getting hit in the backfield. I've never seen a running back get hit 5 yards deep so many times repeatedly. I mean, the Jets really seem to be committed to building a dynasty in loser ball, and we have to applaud them for that. But again, firing Robert Saleh, not something we want to see. Nathaniel Hackett losing play calling ability, not something we want to see. We want this continuity here. We want Woody Johnson keeping these guys in place and allowing them to really reach that like epitome of loser ball success that only a team like the Browns during their heyday was able to achieve. We don't want to see changes and positive performance. We want fumbles. We want missed field goals, interceptions. Aaron Rodgers throwing 14 incompletions in a row. That's what we want. So I like the Jets this week, but I will say it's a little risky because maybe all this changeover actually gets the offense going. Their defense is good,
I'm
so
always
who knows?
hopeful. I think Gangrene is always a strong pick. They do have the home field disadvantage this week, being at in New Jersey. But I think there's some magic, when it comes to the Jets and playing, especially on um, on prime time, and I think Buffalo, after I mean they were a very impressive performance last week with I think 21 incompletions, a 70% incompletion rate for Josh Allen. So I think there's going to be something's going to. I mean, these are two teams that are both on the upswing in a way. So who's really going to pull out the loser ball championship on Monday night is hard to say. What's great also about loser ball is that it's not always the team that wins traditionally that loses in loser ball. I think three out of the top four teams last week won their games. You know, they outscored their opponent. But like the Falcons, you know, they had some crazy plays happen as well. I have to look at our little stat chart and see. But Atlanta had minus 395 points. They totally outplayed um, Tampa. So, you know,
They did.
I'm confident. I think Kirk Cousins is a solid pick. You definitely that aberration of 509 yards or whatever he threw for is kind of ridiculous. I mean, Tampa Bay clearly has a very strong pass defense, and that's why they were, you know, giving up so many yards. But that the
I
loser
think you
ball is a
mentioned
wacky
Kirk
world.
Cousins, and,
What's that?
and you saw I sunk. My camera sunk. You mentioned the name Kirk Cousins, and look at that. Even like
The
some of them
weight
now lower.
of Kirk
I
Cousins.
don't, but I will say, quarterbacks you mentioned early on are it's true. Loser ball goes as QBs go, and kind of like at the NFL, which is great too that it mirrors real football. I'll say another team. Speaking of quarterbacks, and they only it was an aberration in my mind when I revealed this team because in week 4 they actually performed well, which was shocking, and that's the Tennessee Titans because the first 3 weeks of the season they were a Will Levis, nightmare, or as
Phenomenon.
we like to say, a Will Levis machine, right? Like if you're a Titans fan, it's a nightmare. If you're a loser ball fan, it is beautiful. I mean, you can't organize or orchestrate these types of interceptions that he's throwing. It's almost as if he's playing loser ball and picking himself. So the Titans then had, a nice game against the Dolphins, which, as you alluded to, are the number one like loser ball team. They also made that Will Levis was hurt, which we don't want to see. Mason Rudolph was in. So what sticks with the Titans? This week they play the Colts. The only concern I have with the Titans, I like them as maybe a sleeper pick or a dark horse, but the Colts have been just as wonky at times, or good in loser ball at times. But they have a lot of injuries also. So could if Will Levis plays, could he perform, well, which would be bad for us? Or will he be, how he's been for the whole season, which is just a beautiful loser ball quarterback? Same thing on the flip side. If Joe Flacco plays, it's going to be electric. Flacco does two things, right? He throws the ball long and it's going to one team and it's usually for his touchdown, one way or the other. So that's like a really tricky game. That the Colts haven't been great this year in real life, and they've been hit or miss when it comes to loser ball. Like last week, I think they put up a minus 394, which is solid. I mean, that's a pretty good
Oh, yeah,
score.
yeah, yeah. No one
Um,
complains about that.
but there are weeks where, again, this goes back to health, where Jonathan Taylor's healthy and which he's not right now, and they're running the ball and they're accumulating yards, which we don't, which is it just is annoying to watch. You don't want to see, first downs and accumulating yards. That's just not what we like to root for. But it's just a dark horse game. You could pick either side. Again, when I look at my picks, and I've not been doing, I've been middle of the road. Um, just thinking about leverage, right? Like everybody, I think the Raiders stand out, and it's a great pick. But if everyone picks the Raiders, then you might not really win. So, what are some games or teams that, if you do pick the Raiders, could you maybe pick that differentiates you a little bit when you're competing against others? So, I like targeting that Colts Titans game. I think it could be a loser ball bonanza on both sides.
Hmm.
Even though I think the Titans are the one that I like more, just because you listen to these scores that they put up each week to start the year: minus 551, minus 308, minus 414. I mean, that's some skill to put up a minus like that average right there
It's
is
dedication.
solid.
You know, they're giving 110%. And then you're right, the last 2 weeks to only go minus 36, or
And
last
then they
week,
were on
'cause they were
bye.
off last week. That's a real disaster. That's awful.
So again, they were on bye. I hate seeing teams come off bye and lose their ball because they're usually fresh. They usually have, they've worked on that one opponent, for 2 weeks, which is again things we don't want to see. But could they revert? It's not. I just go over body of work, and the Titans have not looked like, they've looked like a great loser ball team, and that could be again. I don't know if a lot of people are going to pick the Titans, so again, that kind of like catches my eye. But
Consistency
Raiders
is
another
key.
great
I
pick.
think we'd be remiss if we don't. First of all, your sculpted chin that we're not able to see. The one benefit of it is people can see our Twitter, our X account, which is at Play Loser Ball. So feel free to check that out. We're posting, and especially during games, we're posting. Um,
Just sitting as we go on. It's I mean actually sitting in quicksand. So by the end of this, I'm just gonna be like a
you'll
little bit of a
be
ball
the
head.
top. You'll truly
Yeah.
be the loser balls talking about loser ball. We would be remiss, of course, we talked about the Jets, but their co-tenant, the Giants. I mean, Daniel Jones, I don't know what happened to him last week, but luckily, there's always special teams and that crazy block return, whatever that was. I mean, the Giants always figure out a way to score when it comes to loser ball. So they're
Did
also
you see that
strong.
play?
What?
Did you see that play?
I saw part
Not
of it. Yeah.
so I it was I don't even know if he fumbled, but I was excited that he did when they were at the 1 yard line and the
Yeah.
Seahawks took it 99 the other way or 101. If only the Giants decide. I mean, who blocks a field goal at the end of the game like that for the Giants? That really annoyed me because I had the Giants and they were doing so beautiful from a loser ball standpoint, and then they go and block, the potential game winning field goal for the Seahawks and take it back for a touchdown.
Well, that was
Hate
good for
seeing that.
Seattle because Seattle, they're actually number four overall. They and their first game of the year, they had those two safeties in the first half, which is unprecedented. I've never seen that
I
happen.
don't know how you do that.
And they
I
almost had
just
a
think it takes
third.
skill. Yeah, I almost a third. I think, but again, like I had the Giants last week, so I'm just sitting there like it's all going to plan. 101 or 99-yard return was going the other way. Love it. That's like exactly why I picked you. And then you have to go and block one yourself and take it to the house. Just complete disregard. Honestly, a complete disregard for what we're trying to do here.
It was not a complete team game. You have to dominate in all three areas, and they did let us down. But the nice thing about loser ball is that it's a season long, so it's not a win lose. They won the game. They outscored the Seahawks. They also outscored them in loser ball. They were minus 303, and Seattle was minus 246. So there's a lot of wackiness happening every week. There's block punts. One thing we also should talk about are kickers. Somebody, the special teams, a missed point after is huge. A missed field goal is also big.
I'm
So,
a little disappointed, not gonna lie, because there's been a lot less missed extra points this year. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I feel like these kickers have gotten better, and it's really bothering me. I mean, now 50 yards is like 20, and these guys are just making field goals left and right. It's like, do you not have a respect for the craft? Like,
so
what happened to the missing of the extra points? What happened to just shanking field goals outright? Last week felt like, a little bit of a normalcy, but again, they were all blocked. A lot of them were blocked. It wasn't like just, I like it when a kicker, just Billy Cundiff lines up 37 yards and hooks it. What
we've
is,
got a
where
few.
is that?
So who's leading the miss field goal category for
Well, I don't know because now teams are being more responsible. Cade York misses 2 field goals in week one. Normally, you'd keep him around for a couple of weeks. He gets let go right away.
so what
What
do
are
you
you
think's going
doing?
to happen to Young Oku? Young Oku missed two field goals last week.
Yeah, but he's good. He's always been good. I think he'll be fine,
It could
unfortunately.
be something
He's
could be in his head. You might wanna look at Atlanta for next week also. Just saying, just saying. The
I
team
mean,
that
honestly,
the what's that?
I would say back to the Giants real fast. I just wanted to say I do like that pick because the Bengals, if they do one thing well, is they're healthy on offense and they put up yards. So that's already a baseline, right? A baseline of just yards against.
You
Throw in a
also
Daniel Jones.
cannot discount Daniel Jones in prime time. I mean, that is just
Right. But throw
what
in
can you
if you
say?
already have a baseline of a couple minus hundreds, right? Because just the Bengals are going to lay it on you, and they're annoyed. They're 1-4, and then on top of that, you get a game script that just features Daniel Jones having to throw it. That could lead to sacks, missing incompletions, interceptions, pick sixes. I think it's a recipe for that. Actually, might be my favorite pick now that you mention it because the Bengals offense will deliver, and on top of that, Daniel Jones will likely not. I know he's been. I'm sorry, Giants
I think
fans. I
you
know he's
flipped
looked
it.
better.
Daniel Jones will deliver, and the Bengals the offense will deliver, and so will
True. I
so
messed
will
up
so
there.
will
So
the
they
Giants
both
defense. Everyone will
they
deliver.
both
It's gonna be a
okay.
party.
They both will deliver. So I like that's not my favorite pick of the week. I stand corrected. I think the Giants in prime time. And what else is nice is you do have it's a little differentiate like prime time. I do think Daniel Jones under the lights, that's when he shines best. And so not to the
Wow.
level
So
of Kirk Cousins.
Sunday night it's Big Blue in New Jersey, and then Monday night it's Gang Green, same stadium, 2 nights in a row.
You really could go for the double up if you really are feeling, the love of New York. Why not just you could go to both games and you could pick the Giants and the Jets. I don't think what could really go wrong. I don't see many things going. I mean, that really could deliver close to a minus 1,000, I feel like.
That's yeah,
Which
I think we had someone last week who won the alarm. We're partnering with Fantasy Alarm every week, and you can win a jersey if you're the winner. Our winner scored over 1,200 points, which was very impressive. One thing I wanted to say about kickers is the team that has missed the most field goals so far, missed 4 field goals in 5 games, is Green Bay. And Norvison, I think, is his name. So they're playing
Naverson,
hard.
Norverson,
Norvison, my pronunciation is lacking.
whatever his name is, keep him there. Do not go for another guy. He's doing his job. Let
I
him be.
agree. I agree. He's solid, and Green Bay, they don't like to rock the boat too much. So I like the
Well,
fact.
think
Well,
about this. This guy's name.
they got rid of the brother, right? One of the brothers,
Yeah,
Carlson
and
brothers.
Carl, I felt horribly for him because that's his dream, and you want to get these guys, you want them to achieve their dream. It's not about performance; it's about getting to the spot. This guy's been working his tail off. He's now kicking in the league, and just so he misses one a game, not a big deal. Packers can overcome it with other things. You've got to keep these kickers. How would you like to go tell this guy, hey, you just missed a game-winning field goal. We're letting you go. You don't. That's not right. It's not
No,
polite. It's you
you
keep
need to
these
build their
guys.
confidence and keep them in there. Just as an example, Carlson missed 6 field goals all of last year. Norvison's already missed 4. He is on pace for an excellent season.
Well, and that's what the Packers I do love about them. I think they were like, we want to upgrade. We're not just content with 6 missed field goals. We want at least 8 to 10. And so they did what most good loser ball franchises should do. Let's go get a different kicker and hope that he can even score even more loser ball points. And so far, you're right. They're on pace.
It all
It
starts
hasn't
at the
even gotten
top, you know? It's like
in
Green.
Wisconsin. It's not even gotten, give me a snow game. Oh my God, a couple more missed field goals. You look at the Vikings, they got it all wrong. They ended up getting a kicker that can make kicks. I mean, that's just not fun.
No, no. It's been Minnesota has missed no field goals this year.
That
They're
that
missing.
is that confounds me. That's because I think you had told me when I first looked at this with you a while ago that Minnesota was like missed field goal central.
Yeah, they had missed 6 field goals last year, 7 field goals the year before. I think they were
Yeah, that's
even
great.
worse when it came to, oh, not too bad in extra points, but their kicker hasn't missed this year. I don't know what's happening up north. It's an issue. So, all
I
right.
think
So
that
let's
again, these kickers
what's
have gotten
that?
too good. These kickers have gotten too good. Something has to be done. I think they need to make the uprights tighter.
Or move back the PAT.
Or make them kick with their other foot. I don't know. That seems very logical, right? If you're
Or
right-footed,
or
make them
have
kick
the
lefty.
or have an offensive lineman be a kicker.
Yeah, easily. One kick per game. They already ruined kickoffs, so let's just make it like at least make it fun. You have to pick the heaviest guy on the team to kick one time a game.
I
It's
like
like in softball when you have to kind of like structure the order to, or it's not even softball when it's like rec league basketball and everyone wants like fair play, everyone wants to play a certain number of minutes. Same thing here. You got the heaviest guy's got to kick once. You can have your kicker kick the other ones, but you've got to pick your heaviest offensive lineman one time. I think it'd be marquee television.
Oh, it'd be like Refrigerator Perry, come in and
Yeah,
now
it'd
he'd
be
be
great. Who
kicking.
wants
Oh,
to see him run into the end zone? I'd rather see him kick a field goal.
it's true. We're running from 1 yard. That's not a big deal. Kicking
No, kick a field goal.
kicking a gimme, that's a different
Something has to be
situation.
done. I'm gonna have to message the NFL competition committee about this. The kickers are too good, and it's a problem. I think this might be the best kicking year without looking at anything, just from watching these games. I've never seen more kicks made and from greater distances than this year. Again, I wasn't kidding. 50 feels like 30.
But
It's like how many
your
times now do
boy
you see?
Justin
How many
Tucker,
times but he's actually got like he apparently had a technical flaw. But how many times now do you see a game where a guy's kicking from over 60 and it's just like a drop in the bucket?
yeah, yeah, it's very
I hate it.
disappointing. I mean, part of it is that they're putting them out there to kick more because they think they can make these kicks. Previously,
Yeah.
you wouldn't, if you were outside the 40, you wouldn't even think about it. You'd punt, you'd go for it. Now they've got these ridiculous kickers who just they don't have what it takes. And I agree.
No,
We
I
have to
actually think
harken
they
back.
do. I think they're all on steroids. I would test them all. I think they're all using leg enhancing steroids, something that like or shoes that must be, have something in the shoe. They say you wear shoes that are too small, like sizes too small on purpose. I think they need to look at the shoes. There's something happening here. Or maybe the balls are being like juiced up. I don't know. These kicks are wild. But yet, of all things, Tucker's been shaky this year. Go figure.
Shaky, he's been great. He's fantastic. We love that Justin Tucker is somebody who you
Oh, I
can
know we
start to
love it,
rely
but I'm
on.
just as a Ravens. I'm switching to my Ravens hat for a
Okay,
second.
fair
Like
enough.
as a
I'm just
kicker,
keeping you honest.
he's been right. No, no, because like you would never would associate Justin Tucker with loser ball, right? Like he is
Hmm.
the death of. He's usually the one that is just the antithesis of
Yeah,
loser ball because he's
he's
making kicks
awful.
left and right. And for him to be even indexing this year like he is, he really is having an interesting season. I do think there's probably more time that needs to get spent on the whole unit, the long snapper and the holder. And you looked at the Bengal game against the Ravens this past week. There was that punter did a great job. The punter did a fantastic job. I mean, you watch that in slow motion. It was even from the jump when he caught it and tried to spin it. It was beautiful with how he screwed that up. But I was watching something the other day and it talked about how I think it was Belichick that was saying on the McAfee show that he had punters that refused, that did not want to be put like they're there to kick and that's it. They do not want to be snap holders because they're just it's too much pressure. But in loser ball, we love that pressure because
Yeah,
we want them to fail.
for the good of the team, you have to step up. You have to really, fill the holes where they're needed, and you can't shirk your responsibility or shy away from the limelight. When it's your call and it's your job to mess up a field goal, you've got to get in there and do your
I
duty.
mean, let's be real. Let's be real. You're already different from everybody else on the team. You're like tiny, skinny, and you don't fit in anyway. So it doesn't matter if no one wants to sit next to you because you missed a kick. At least do the right thing for all of us fans here that picked your team in loser ball and just miss it and miss as many of them as possible. Because again, this all fake camaraderie. They don't like you. The team, you think these wide receivers really give a crap about the kicker or the offensive and defensive linemen? No, they tolerate the kicker. They actually don't like you at all. So there's no need to really want to make these game-winning field goals or any field goals for that matter, right? Like it's all a facade. They hate you.
I think it's
You don't run
THC toe
drills, but
cream.
they're running two a days, and you're out there doing your kicks. Like, come on, they don't like you.
I
It's the
think
heat of
it's
summer at training camp, and you're doing some kicks, and they're puking and trying to survive, and you're sitting there, complaining because you gotta get the ball just right.
you're
They don't like
you're
you.
you're checking the wind.
Yeah, exactly. They hate you.
So, Ben, thanks for joining us in our initial loser ball prognostication for Pigskin
Of course.
Pandemonium for Gridiron Guffaws. We encourage everyone to sign up for loser ball and have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah, I'll try next time to like stay level and not just go down like I have been. But yeah, hopefully
You could come in
hopefully I wasn't
from
too
from
annoying.
like from on top, you know?
I mean, I was just afraid to fix this, honestly. I could have fixed it the whole time, but I was afraid the camera would just disappear.
Don't be
Um,
afraid.
no,
That's what loser ball is. You got to get out there.
no,
All
this was a
right.
blast. I'm glad that thank you for having me.
All right. See you guys later.